Welcome back. This is Kristen Foltz with Healing Home Coaching. We are in day 4 of our connection challenge for our daily routines, and we are talking about our evening time routines. Rubba dub dub, someone's in the tub. So we've made it through the day. We've connected with our kids on a deeper level, and we are now on the home stretch. What happens next? You've had dinner, you've connected, you've engaged your kids, you've had great conversation, and now they're triggering because it's bath time and bedtime and PJs need to be put on and we're winding down for the day. What type of routine does that look like for you? Is it working for you? Are there things that you could tweak or change? Is it as simple as changing up when the bath time happens or when we have bedtime? Giving your kid choices what time they go to bed is a great way to do a couple of things. One, if you're fine with them going to bed at say 8:30, 9 o'clock, or even 9:30, give them a choice. Do you want to go to bed at 8, 8:30, or 9? We all know that they will be choosing 9 o'clock. They've had a choice. They have a buy-in. You can then use that to connect with them when they're not willing to go to bed at 9 o'clock and say, you made the choice. Let's head on into bed for story time or PJs or whatever the case may be. And let's continue on through the night in a connected manner. Now, if your child is triggering by bath time or bedtime, think about what is causing that trigger. Is it showering? Is it having to shower by themselves? Is it the process of falling asleep and letting their body relax? For our trauma kids, our kids who have had a background that is not as pleasant as most children have, they can be triggered extensively for bath time and bedtime. Now, how can you help your kid work through those situations? Again, choices and connection and engagement is a great way to connect with them. Giving them a choice. Do I need to help you wash your hair or can you do it yourself? Would you like someone to help you put soap on your washcloth or do you have this handled? Giving them a choice, giving them some power, giving them control what happens to their body is important. Power struggles don't have to happen. Yelling and gnashing of teeth don't have to happen. It can be a very calm and peaceful time. A lot of our kids have a hard time winding down, and some parents feel the need to use synthetic ways of persuasion to get their kids to calm down. I would recommend a more connected way to do that. Lower lights, calming stories, diffusing essential oils. If you have to go the route of melatonin or other sleep aid options, think about the long-term consequences to that. Research shows, unfortunately, that melatonin with long-term use can cause our body to actually stop making what we need in our body because the body says, oh, I have melatonin, I don't need to make it anymore. A great alternative is to diffuse cedarwood. Cedarwood essential oil is actually a oil that helps our body naturally produce melatonin. Therefore, we do not need to aid the body in giving additional melatonin to it. Now, I know that's a controversial subject, but I want to say that I have used it personally and my family uses it, and melatonin doesn't happen in my house. But there are times when I begged for it to actually be an option. So don't get me wrong, sleep is very important. Sleep is crucial to having a good morning and a good day, good foundation to the day. But if sleep is something that's a trigger for your kids, get down on their level, talk to them, engage them, be gentle with them. For me personally, we are in the middle of sleep training. Now, I always try to be very peaceful with my daughter, and sleep training was kind of like our last option. We co-slept, we did other options for her and I to get some sleep. She does not traditionally have very good sleep patterns at all. And because of her high needs as an infant and Coming into toddlerhood, sleep training was something that I was wanting to put off. But I have gone through that journey with her. I am not an advocate of crowding it out. Research and cognitive shows that it is absolutely not in a child's best interest for crying it out. And we can talk about that another day. But a peaceful sleep training option is out there for you guys that I'd love to share with you at some point. So we've been going through the sleep training journey. Some nights she goes straight down after we've cuddled and rocked and given her her last bottle of the evening. And there's other nights, several weeks into this now, that she has no concept of what going to bed means or even being able to self-soothe. So it's a trial and error. So knowing your own personal triggers when you're frustrated with your kids can be to your benefit, absolutely, hands down. And I personally have had to do some own personal trigger work, especially having to be peaceful and calm with my daughter 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes into the sleep training process. You want to be connected with them. You want to let them know that you're there for them, that you're not abandoning them. And which this brings up another good point. Felt safety is a concept where if your child is told they're fine or they're okay or it will be okay, and they don't cognitively and emotionally and physically believe that that's true, in their brain, they are not safe. They do not have the cognitive understanding that what my parent is telling me means that that's what I am. So if they are anxious or scared or upset, and you tell them you're fine, you're okay, instead of connecting with them in a manner of, I can see that you're upset, what can mommy do to help you? Or I can see you're angry, how can we work together to make a resolution so you're more happy? And it's identifying that they have a need. You're letting them know that you're hearing them, and together you guys are working to a compromise or a resolution or an answer to the problem. So felt safety is something that being mindful of with your kids and is another good tool to stay connected with them, especially with the little ones. An example is you have a child who's on the shoulders of his dad, and they're excited and they're happy and they're squealing and it's fun to them. Well, then his twin sibling gets on the shoulders of the dad and they're screaming and scratching and clawing, and it's not a fun experience for them. And the parent says, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Well, neurochemically, that child is not fine. That child is in fight, flight, or freeze mode. That child is in survival mode. And the neurochemical endings of the brain are firing off and it's saying, I'm danger, 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 I'm afraid, when it's supposed to be an enjoying, happy experience. So think about different times throughout the day and different memories or adventures that you're about ready to have with your family, and think about how your child would perceive that. The circus. It's loud, it's stimulating, but it's fun and it's enjoyable. To one child, they could enjoy the circus, and another child, it could be extremely terrifying. Another thing to consider is even though your child may enjoy in the moment, hours later, this is something that we struggle with personally with my daughter, is she will be overstimulated, but her body won't give me a lot of cues to say, okay, mom, I've had enough. So as a parent, I have to advocate for when is enough for her. And so what happens is we'll go to the activity or whatever the case may be. It's loud, it's stimulating, it's overwhelming, but she's sitting there, she's smiling, she's having a good time because she's very people oriented. And then 4, 5, 6 hours later, she's shrieking at the top of her lungs, and she just is having a very hard time coping skills and self-soothing, and she needs me to be there. And if I had not connected the dots that it was connected, I would have no idea what is going on. But now that it's happened a couple of different times in different situations, and I am aware of sensory overload and delayed responses, it is very much connected. So being aware of the triggers and the things that your kids are sensitive to will help you have more connected opportunities throughout the day and evening. Going back to showering and going to bed, if these are triggers for your kids, connect with them. Now, I know it's easier said than done sometimes. You're in the heat of the moment. You may even be triggering. You're exhausted. But bringing your cadence down and your voice down and getting on their eye level and, rubbing their arm or holding their hand or rubbing their back, you're giving them safe physical touch. You're telling them and showing them that you're there to connect with them and how together, not separately, but together, you all are going to work through the stress of the situation, perceived or in reality to them. These are really important times for you and your kids because through time and trial and error and consistency of meeting their emotional needs and those unspoken needs of connection, you are building a foundation of trust, independence. And I know that being mindful and connecting with your kids on a deeper level is a lot of work and it is stressful sometimes. But I can guarantee you, when you are on a level of meeting those unspoken needs and those emotional needs that no one sees and hears except you because you're aware of it, in the long run, you are building a foundation of trust and connection that no one will be able to measure except your child. And that's what builds strong, healthy, independent children in the long run. So right now it's hard, and I know that. And I just want to encourage you that it's worth it. So mama, when your baby is triggering and they've done this 100 times and they're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old and they know what the bedtime routine is and they know what time PJs get on and showers get done, take the quiet time that you need to be balanced. Take the quiet time that they need to be balanced. Oil them up with some oils. Diffuse it, the diffuser 10 to 20 minutes before bedtime with a sleepy time recipe. Pinterest is amazing for pulling up great recipes. I will tell you, diffusing essential oils at night is a great way to help your babies. One thing to consider though, find a diffuser that you can turn the lights off because a lot of the diffusers will do different colors and that can be very stimulating and confusing to children as they're trying to go to sleep. And one more thing to point out for showering. If you have multiple kids, please do not make your older children responsible for your littler ones when they're in the bathtub. That is your responsibility, and that is one of my big soapboxes that I will save that rant for another day. But as a parent, connect with your kids. Do not leave them in the tubs by themselves. And I know that's elementary information, but do not put the responsibility on your older children to make sure the little ones are bathed. That's your gift. That's your responsibility. And that's your time to connect with your kids. I just want to say that I really enjoyed my time with you and that tomorrow we're going to be talking about the Healing Hearts Parent Program. Hopefully you found different tips and tricks to connect with your kids this week. Don't forget that our webinar is next Tuesday, the third Tuesday of the month, where we are going to be going over all of these things and with more tips and more strategies for you. That starts at 6 p.m. If you need a one-on-one connection call, strategy call with me for your child-specific needs, hit me up on our website, healinghomelifecoaching.com. And don't forget to pop into our Facebook and tell us how it's going. Take care.